Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another episode of All Chiefed Up. We're back with another podcast for that ass in the day, Steve. We're talking top 30 Chiefs visits. We're looking at Ben Sinnott from Kansas State. Let's talk about it.
Ben Sinnott, one of my favorite prospects at the tight end position. But before we get started, I appreciate you guys watching All Chiefed Up and getting your off-season Chiefs content from right here and nowhere else. We appreciate that. Also, hit that like button. Get this out to more Chiefs fans. Share it with your friends. And also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Mike, like I was saying, Ben Sinnott was one of my favorite tight end prospects early on when we started digging in. I like the guy. Let's talk about him a little.
Everybody knows Brock Bowers is number one, right?
Of course.
It was always common that Ja'Tavion Sanders out of Texas was number two, but I'm hearing so much
he's dropping
static that he is now being overtaken by one Ben Sinnott, Steve. Ben Sinnott, Kansas State, from Waterloo, Iowa, 6'4", 250, 32 3/8-inch arms, 9.5-inch hands, athleticism off the chart. He's 5th overall at the combine, 3rd in production score, 3rd overall total score. He had a 4.68 40-yard dash, a 1.59 10-yard split, a 40-inch vert, Steve, 6.8 2.3 cone, and a 4.23 20-yard shuttle. Ben Sinnott is an absolute monster, but he is not your stereotypical tight end. He's more of an H-back, kind of a flex kind of guy, Steve. Do you think that's something that the Chiefs will look for and utilize, or do you think this is just something where they're looking at him because, you know, he's kind of like a hometown guy?
Well, a couple different reasons I think they could look at him is just because they need a good young tight end. We have an aging Travis Kelce. Everybody's so afraid of what we are going to do when Travis Kelce's gone. We all obviously know they like Noah Gray. We like Noah Gray. Noah Gray and Ben Sinnott are pretty similar. If you really start looking at it, they can both do kind of the H-back thing. Now, I do think that Ben Sinnott might be overlooked by the Chiefs just because I don't think they really care about the tight end as much as the fans do, to be honest. They've passed up good tight ends for the last 2 years in the draft, so I don't know if this is a year where they just turn it around or not. But Ben Sinnott's a good prospect. According to Lance Zierlein on NFL.com, the NFL analyst says that he's got a lot of strengths. His speed and agility to run routes on all three levels, gets quickly into routes and maneuvers around redirection, adequate contested catch toughness with steady hands, can move the chains with his run after catch ability, quick to adjust his target point against moving targets, and light on his feet for angles as a positional blocker. So I think there's a couple of good things about Ben Sinnott, and you're going to get the pass catching, you're going to get the blocking. It's kind of well-rounded.
Right. Ben Sinnott is kind of like a tight end / fullback. Matter of fact, in 2023, he won the Low Man Trophy, Steve, which is given to the best fullback in college football. So they know he can line up in the backfield. He can line up in the slot. You name it, Ben Sinnott is a weapon all throughout various positions. He's a smart kid. He's a big kid, 6'4", 247. That's pretty similar to what Kelce was. Coming out of high school, of course, at Columbus High School in Waterloo, Iowa, he actually committed to play for South Dakota, and then he went ahead and he became a walk-on at K-State. He redshirted his freshman year, and then in his first full season there, he was named All Big 12 Conference first team. So Ben Sinnott has been around the block, man. He's got a lot of strength, as you said. He can move the chains based on the fact that if you get him the ball in his hands, he will fight for extra yards. He adjusts himself to the football very well. That's another thing I noticed. He's light on his feet, by the way. I think he's got a lot of pop in his moves. He does remind me of Kelce a little bit in that area. I think Ben Sinnott is a upgrade, in my opinion, over I'll say it's an upgrade over our boy from Duke, Steve.
Noah Gray.
Noah Gray. I really do. I think he's an upgrade there. But is Noah Gray going to go anywhere if Ben Sinnott gets drafted? No, I think Noah Gray will still be in the plans this season. I think they still plan on trying to feature him and get as much as they can out of Noah Gray because he is now in a contract year. They got to see what they got there. Kelce's not going to play forever, man.
Right. Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree with that. I don't think he would be an upgrade from Noah Gray just yet. But do I think his ceiling could be a tad bit higher? Yes. But Ben Sinnott, he's a very good pass-catching tight end. Like you said, he fights for extra yardage. He's good with the ball in his hands. He gets a lot of yak. His knocks are his blocking. He can block, but they do say
he's
that
a good blocker.
They say they try to say that he doesn't have much grit and much strength right off the bat. He doesn't hit very hard. He doesn't get into the blocks a lot. He's not going to do you much good when it's one-on-one pass pro. That's the biggest knock with Ben Sinnott is his blocking. I think just the experience level that Noah Gray's been able to acquire playing behind Travis Kelce, and the fact that I think he's a little bit better blocker than Ben Sinnott at this juncture, I wouldn't say it was an upgrade, but I do think that Ben Sinnott has a very high ceiling and could eventually take over that spot.
Right. Well, Zierlein also says he's below average grit and strain at the point of attack. He fails to fit up run blocks and with much command or force. He needs to drop his pad level more often. He's not going to help as a single blocker in pass pro, and he's a little slow to activate his hands. So, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I guess you could do that, but when I see what he does on film and this tight end class, I think Ben Sinnott by far is number 3, maybe even number 2 over Ja'Tavion Sanders. I have him slightly above Cade Stover. I think he's above Theo Johnson from Penn State, who, by the way, was an athletic freak at testing. I think he's above Tanner McLaughlin out in Arizona, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure he caught more balls than Gronk did at Arizona his senior year. So the tight end position is not very deep, in my opinion. But I believe Ben Sinnott is a guy that is now going to get his name in the mix for a round 2 pick. I honestly believe he's going to get himself into round 2. And by the way, I was looking at this. I went and dug this up today, Steve. A lot of people saying, hey, Iowa tight end, Kansas State tight end. Maybe he's like Sam Laporta, with the Erick All comparison to Sam Laporta. But I was like, well, what does Ben Sinnott look like versus Sam Laporta? According to RAS scores, he swamps Sam Laporta. I had no idea this was a thing when I brought this up. But besides the 40-yard dash, and maybe the 10-yard split, he kind of beats him in a lot of categories. He's got a better vertical. I mean, I don't know, man. I think he's right there along the lines. Look, obviously Sam Laporta, the height, weight, bench is what got him, right? So down the board with all the metrics, I mean, Sam Laporta is probably a slight bit better all the way down, but it's always a good exercise to look at RAS scores and say, hey, how do these guys compare up? Do I think Ben Sinnott is going to be Sam Laporta? No, absolutely not. But when you do see the way RAS scores, start comparing the two, it's like, well, is it out of the realm of possibility he could get there? I don't know. And I think for a round 2 pick, I wouldn't be an angry guy if the Chiefs, made the pick there or maybe even traded up a little bit in round 2 and said, Chiefs select Ben Sinnott, K-State.
I don't know. That one might be a little questionable to me. I do think that Ben Sinnott's going to take over Ja'Tavion Sanders. I just have this hunch that they might flip-flop. Ja'Tavion Sanders has been dropping in a lot of big boards.
He's had a bad offseason.
Our boy Broshmo said he took him off of his top 100. So
that's pretty crazy, man. I haven't got that extreme yet.
Right. So a lot of people are down on Ja'Tavion Sanders, and Ben Sinnott's on the rise. So I could see him maybe, flip-flopping, being a second-round pick. Do I think that he's worth a second-round pick? Absolutely not. I don't, like, at this juncture with the Chiefs and what they need, how much they need a tight end, I don't think that you take one in the second round. That would just really blow my socks off if they did that one, Mike.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Right now, I've got Ben Sinnott ranked number 48 on our entire big board. That's pretty crazy. I've got him as a top 50 pick. I think he could be a top 50 guy. Do the Chiefs value him as a top 50 guy, though? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
And we have talked to Ja'Tavion Sanders.
I fully agree that he's a top 50 guy, but I don't think that he's in the Chiefs' sights for a second-round draft pick. I just don't. I think the Chiefs have a lot of other stuff to address first. We know that we need to be looking into offensive line depth, maybe some edge depth, and then now with the recent stuff going on with Rashee Rice, are we back looking at wide receiver again? Do we have to look into a first-round, second-round wide receiver? So I think a lot of things are going on there. I just don't see tight end being in the cards for the Chiefs that early in the draft, but they have done crazier things, so you never really know.
Right. Well, the Chiefs have talked to Ja'Tavion Sanders. We know that. They're going to bring Ben Sinnott in on a top 30, and we know they've talked to Theo Johnson. We know they have brought in Erick All. So they are doing their due diligence here in the tight end room. Could you rule out a tight end? I don't know. But like you said, in the second round, I feel like we may have more pressing issues, especially with Noah Gray being serviceable to above average. And then, knowing that he is younger and now he does have all this experience with the offense. Is it something I want to go away from so quickly? I don't know just yet. A lot of people aren't sold on Noah Gray. I get that. Ben Sinnott, I really do think Ben Sinnott from day one is comparable to Noah Gray.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think his ceiling's probably a little higher. And I do think Ben Sinnott gets himself into the second round. I really do. I think he's in. I think he's a top 64 pick easily.
Here's my thing with the tight end, Chiefs tight end situation. I think Noah Gray has been exceptional for what they've used him for so far. And you can't really get a good gauge of a guy with Travis Kelce on the field. If you eliminated Travis Kelce from the equation altogether, Noah Gray could be one of the better tight ends in the league right now for all you know. But you have no clue because they have a guy like Travis Kelce in there who gets all the snaps. Rightfully so. He's the best in the league. So I think it's really hard to judge that second spot there and how good these guys would be in a starting situation. But I'm with you. I think he's right around Noah Gray. Like I said, I would give a nod to Noah Gray right now just because of the experience he has already.
Knowing he has fullback experience, is this something you think Andy might want to look at, considering we went away from the fullback, but now you've got a guy that has that experience that can catch the ball, makes kind of like a roster spot, like a morphed roster spot?
Right. Well, I think that definitely helps Ben Sinnott's chances of being drafted by the Chiefs. I know Andy Reid was a big guy on having a fullback. Of course, the league kind of passed him by on that and kind of eliminated it. You don't really see fullbacks anymore except for Juszczyk in San Francisco.
And we still struggle on short yardage situations.
Yeah, for sure. So it's definitely something that could help Ben Sinnott's case for being a Kansas City Chief for sure.
Yep. So with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for today. If you liked to hear about Benson, if you like top 30 visits, be sure to subscribe, like the video, click that bell. We appreciate you guys watching. Go Chiefs.